Happy Aloha Friday. It's Kaui Lucas back at ThinkTech Hawaii with Hawaii is My Mainland. And this week we are in a new section. Last week I had Miliana Meyer here, and that was a Art Na'au segment. This week we are moving on to green eggs and spam, I call it. SPAM stands for Sustainability, Permaculture, Agriculture, and Makers. So this week we're taking the S in the SPAM, and we are going to talk about energy efficiency with a man that I just met last month at the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, Charles Wang. And he has invented a way for us to really get into, at the very grassroots level, energy efficiency. So Charles's background is in solar and larger energy. Yep. But for the last 5 years, you've been working on this project Cold Fusion, which isn't exactly what it sounds like. What is it, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, Project Cold Fusion sounds so fancy. It sounds very complex and technical. I mean, cold fusion is theoretical, but I mean, if someone can break that barrier and create a viable commercial cold fusion system, I mean, I think all our energy problems are solved, right? It's basically taking the sun and making it into room temperature and harnessing and capturing that energy. That's not going to happen tomorrow. So we call it Project Cold Fusion is because our technology really empowers the individual homeowner and business owner and the person itself. And that starts with energy efficiency. As an aggregated result with individuals doing efficiency measurements here and there, we can really reduce CO2 and reduce energy loads and have the same type of impact as if we created a cold fusion system. And that's why the name, yeah.
So you showed a stunning video at the Hawaii Venture Capital, and we're going to show it now and then have you talk about it.
Great.
Hi, this is Bill Putman. I'm a climate scientist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. What you're looking at is a supercomputer model of carbon dioxide levels in the Earth's atmosphere. The visualization compresses 1 year of data into a few minutes. Carbon dioxide is the most important greenhouse gas affected by human activity. About half of the carbon dioxide emitted from fossil fuel combustion remains in the atmosphere, while the other half is absorbed by natural land and ocean reservoirs. In the Northern Hemisphere, we see the highest concentrations are focused around major emission sources over North America, Europe, and Asia.
I so want to know what it
Notice
looks
how the
like.
gas doesn't stay in one place. The dispersion of carbon dioxide is controlled by the large-scale weather patterns within the global circulation. Meanwhile, in the Southern Hemisphere, we see the release of another pollutant, carbon monoxide. This is a gas that's both harmful to the environment and to humans. During the summer months, plumes of carbon monoxide stream from fires in Africa, South America, and Australia, contributing to high concentrations in the atmosphere. Notice how these emissions are also transported by winds to other parts of the world. As summer transitions to fall and plant photosynthesis decreases, carbon dioxide begins to accumulate in the atmosphere. Although this change is expected, we're seeing higher concentrations of carbon dioxide accumulate in the atmosphere each year. This is contributing to the long-term trend of rising global temperatures. The Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2, or OCO2, will be the first NASA satellite mission to provide a global view of carbon dioxide. OCO2 observations and atmospheric models like GEOS 5 will work closely together to better understand both human emissions and natural fluxes of carbon dioxide. This will guide climate models toward more reliable predictions of future conditions across the globe.
So, sobering statistics, especially when you think they're almost 10 years old.
Yes, I mean, we were just talking about the video is running, like, love to see some data about what is today. And what's alarming is, you got to understand the numbers are getting worse just purely based on demand, of energy and electricity. And what's great about, that video is that, and you were, partook in one of our classes that we're teaching the keikis around the islands, and we show that video. And they get it. I mean, they see this thing, and at first we're like, we might be scaring them and showing these kinds of issues, but they really get it and understand that there's a systemic problem. It's not just Hawaii, and they see that the very low impact Hawaii actually has. And then what happens is that places like Asia, Europe, and North America, the big three, is really where the problems and issues are. And we could, and I love the fact that we could talk about 100% renewable energy by 2045 in Hawaii, but they understand in the long run that we need to figure out how to export knowledge. That's the most important thing that we could actually send to the rest of the world, and set a right example for others to knowing that we could accelerate some of these technologies and systems and with the utilities and power grids, but it's really how do we export the lifestyle,
Right, the lifestyle.
the culture,
Yeah.
to some of the other places as well.
And I think to me, that was the genius, why I thought, at this venture capital meeting, wait, there's a guy talking about an app for kids? Really? Wow, this is amazing. Oh, and it turns kids into energy auditors? What? I need to find out more about this. So that's what I did. I followed up and ended up getting to go to Fort Shafter
Right.
Elementary, and it was a class of fourth graders.
graders.
They were just darling.
Mm-hmm.
And when you made your presentation, I was stunned. They were so interested. And they knew so much already about
Yes.
energy,
Yes.
their native awareness about different forms. I mean, you were talking about, well, now is this thermal or, they knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And they were just right there with you. And it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I have to say, I came away from that meeting just, having a great day, just feeling like, wow, we're in better hands with this generation. But they need the tools, and that's what you've come up with. So tell us how this is moving forward.
Sure, and that's exactly, your feeling when you're talking about the story is exactly how we feel. And, Megumi's in the studio today, but I mean, she's our Chief Sustainability Officer, and it's a big part. It's not just the technology, but it's the outreach, going out to the schools and talking with the teachers and the kids and motivating that next generation. And when I have those not so great days, I love going and volunteering and going out to the schools and talking to the kids because they reinvigorate me. They reinforce the passion, the reason why we're doing this thing. And just like what you talked about, I get that renewed sense of confidence that we're in really great hands in this next generation that, we talk about now in our offices where before we're like, how do we solve this climate issue and energy problem? But we've kind of changed our tune, which is, I think more realistic. We talk about how do we slow down climate change, buy some time for the next generation for them to ultimately solve this problem. And I think that's more of a realistic view. And exactly like what you mentioned, we have to be able to create engagement and excitement, and then the tools where they take action. Because at the end of the day, an audit doesn't really mean anything until you take action.
Until you take action. So how many schools have you visited so far? Do you know?
I'm probably around the almost 50 range, but I mean, it's
Wow.
over 1,000 plus students. And And the great thing about, for what we're doing, Megumi's been doing this not only in Hawaii, but she's also done it in the mainland as well, and Canada and Mexico.
Wow.
So when we always talk about this global challenge, right? It's Hawaii is a catalyst, catapult for a lot of the other places because they can learn from a smaller, environment like us, like a test bed for us, an incubator, where we can cycle through models quickly in real case studies, and then be able to kind of teach the other places. But the tool you're mentioning, the ecoQoob tool, is this. Some of the problems and challenges with auditing today is that there's a barrier of just getting people interested in the first place, right? We're so busy
It's not, somehow energy efficiency just isn't that sexy. I mean,
No.
I used to work for a firm that did energy audits, and we had a really hard time selling.
It's so true. I mean, efficiency it's always overlooked, right? It's solar, now we're talking about batteries. And I think I could speak on experience where I'm a former solar executive, and involved with solar for a long time. In fact, working with batteries, and getting ready to launch battery technologies, which I walked away from because understanding that efficiencies will create more opportunities for the renewable energy industry. Efficiencies will make more of an impact in CO2 offsets in the long run than any of the technologies. We don't have a problem with technology. We have a problem with interest and active engagement. There's really about how do you point them and lead them to the right technologies to ultimately solve these issues. And efficiency is that starting point because it doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars. It doesn't cost the amount of time that people usually need to get approvals for a battery system or solar system. And ultimately, at the end of the day, for the customer and the homeowner, is that they wanted to be able to reduce their electric bill. Okay, they want to pay less. It's not about at the cocktail parties like how many panels do you have, and yes, some places are like that. In some parties, some situations, I have 24 panels. What do you have, right? So, but I think the how we change the conversation now is that I have 15 panels and I have all new appliances in my house and new lighting. Plus I have money left over to go on vacation, and my bill is still at that $15, $20 base rate. That's something you could boast about. That's where you make that, talk about keeping up with the Joneses, right? It's like, that's what PV has become, but that's the kind of conversation you want to have. And efficiency does that because when you lower your loads and drop your consumption within the home, you need less solar panels.
So how long have you been working on this?
The technology, the ecoQoob part, the technology itself is about a year ongoing, but it's a culmination of years within the renewable energy industry. And then my past, almost 20 years ago now, it's like I was in the video game industry. So, and I think that's where, the convergence of the two sectors, right? And understanding how do you create engagement, how do you get people excited about it, and then creating a tool that's like a game where people go do their own energy audits and take action.
Okay, well, that sounds like where we're going to go next when we come back after a short break.
Aloha,
Great.
I'm Keli'i Akina, president of the Grassroot Institute and host on Ehana Kako, a weekly program on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. Ehana Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right, and what's good, and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Ehana Kako. Every week, we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to ThinkTech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. We're Ehana Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
Welcome back to Hawaii is My Mainland. I'm Kaui Lucas, and we are talking to Charles Wang here on ThinkTech. And during the break, we got a tweet from Mark Ward. Since we have an entire political party that denies the reality of climate change, the only hope may be children and mothers. What do you think, Charles?
I really think that, it falls in line with our approach, which is kids, students are usually more open to ideas, right? I mean, when you get to our age, new things are hard to put into the old noggin, right? I mean, we have our set ways. And I think that kids, I mean, it's so amazing when and that's why we do the classes, that I learn just as much from the students. I think they learn from us, because the type of answers they come back with, because they haven't been jaded. They're not jaded yet, and they haven't been down, and there's no limitations. And the type of answers they have for us when we ask questions, it's amazing. And that's where our technology comes in, because we're in software and games. Software, unlike hardware, is almost limitless. It's really your imagination. And what better place for us to be than in that core group of students and kids where their imagination is, unlimited. And that's where we hear a lot of feedbacks, and we could put in implementations in our software. And so the kids, they really do, like you mentioned earlier, they understand so much what's going on around them.
I was really amazed it was probably a 45-minute, hour-long presentation. Yes. And you absolutely kept their attention. The material was not simple. And some of it was simple, but it wasn't all. I was just shocked. It was like, wow. But they were right there. So how is this software going to be implemented?
Yes. So I mean, our whole concept is energy made simple for everyone, right? And it's a broad statement, but it's getting down to it. We think a 7-year-old or a 70-year-old can take our platform and app and have the same outcomes, which is you'll be able to create a baseline for your own home, recreate your home environment, create your family. It's like you saw the app, it's like a game. And at any point, they're going to think that they're doing something that's either homework or something that's that they're just going to kind of put down and give up.
So what is the school's role in this?
So we go into the schools because we really believe that the kids will take our platform to another level. They will become the energy auditors eventually. We see them as not only doing it for their own environment. Once they finish their own environment and able to do the reporting and do the actions, we think this tool can be an extension to be able to do their neighbors, their aunties, their school. Because the tool is so abstract and dynamic, it could fit into many different types of environments.
So it's not just for a house.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And how do you build in for things like people live in condominiums or multifamily housing, and is that all built in? And talk a little bit about. We'll watch the video later, but can you talk a little bit about the breadth that the program includes?
Absolutely. Just answer your question about the different living environments, and you're absolutely right. 70% of the world actually live in multi-unit type of homes. And so when you talk about solar and batteries and technologies like that, you're very limited to detached single home units, right? Or buildings with big rooftops and with sunny areas, right? And even challenges for like wind turbines within residential environments. But when you talk about energy efficiency, it doesn't really pertain to any type of dwelling. You just have to use electricity, and we could help you find ways to decrease the load. So what we're doing with our app is taking that uncomfortable moment of even trying to bring someone into your house. That's the biggest barrier. I mean, when just waiting around to get that person to your home, and the biggest challenge is that we notice is that people are usually more honest with the machine than with someone else.
Yes.
You're kind of uncomfortable about some of the behaviors and the uses, and you might be shy to share, or it might be too personal of a question. But those are the kind of data points that you need to be able to really get accurate measurements.
I so know what you mean. I live off the grid, and I have housemates, and when we are looking for a housemate, we have to ask them some questions like, do you use a blow dryer?
Right.
Because this probably isn't the house you want to live in if you do.
Yeah, you'll probably use all the battery power that's just with the one below dry, right?
Especially in the morning.
Yeah, but what's amazing, I think, in the tools, in the schools, when we're showing the tools and the games, because everything is so simple, the way it's the user interface is so simple, it plays like a game. The kids, and we get instant reaction. So we get to do a really fun experiment, like show them what kind of lights they use in the classroom, and then we ask them to count how many light bulbs, show them what kind of light bulbs there are. Immediately, we could just use the interface and shows you exactly how much that's using per year, right? So the kid's like, whoa, my classroom costs $900 a year let's turn some lights off. We don't need to use all the lights. I mean, that's instant behavior change, and that's really what you're leading to.
So how do they know it costs $900?
Well, the app shows them right away, because it shows the utility rate based on their area, and then it shows them based on the wattage and then use and time. So, and the other experiment that we like to show is air conditioning, right? Because we talk about heat and how hot it is, and the kids all remember, yeah, this summer's so hot, and we ask if they have air conditioning, and some places have air conditioning in the classrooms. And then we show them a little bit about what DOE just did. Department of Energy just put in they went out and bought 1,000 air conditioners out there. And then I don't know where they put it, but we show them the experiment of if they took a 7,000 BTU British thermal unit air conditioner they just bought from one of the stores, and then put it into 1,000 of them in the school system, and then we just take our sliders and show them that let's put 1,000 in there running at 6 hours a day, how much it costs. And then our estimation is about $1.6 million. And the kids see this thing like immediately and like, wow, maybe we don't need to use air conditioning as much. But giving right data and information will affect and change behavior.
So how does the program know whether your utility rate is Honolulu,
Yep.
or it's California or Canada?
So our system is we have a machine learning algorithm and an artificial intelligence system that's running in this thing as well. So we could we can help preload certain data points that are in different areas. So if you're in Honolulu or just and you have a higher electricity rates, we're able to pre-populate those things as well. So our game is not just a game; it's a real tool. And what we're trying to do is get it down to maybe our goal is to get it down to a +2, -2 variance, which means it's commercial grade ready. I mean, this is a real deal. And right now we're in the about 20%, but it's really meant to create awareness first.
Wait, you're at 20%.
The variance is at 20 plus or minus
Okay.
20%. But the more data we could put in there, the more people who use this platform, the more refined our data can be and more accurate. And that means what it means is that you could get so accurate in this tool where it's really replacing an individual person. And even there's flaws by having a person come in and doing audits. And that's the power of our tool, is that it's like the technology bridges the gap that only you thought that professionals can do. Now you can do yourself.
So is there two-way information possible? I mean, as the PUC changes our rates?
Sure.
How will that information get updated?
Yeah, so that's updated based on the rates. I think the utilities update their rates on a monthly basis. So
and so it'll be real.
yeah, it's
Wow,
real. So we'll update the
fantastic.
utility so it's real data and it's modeled by real behavior. But the most important part is it's not actually the utility rates or the power levels of equipment. The most important information is user behavior. It's how we interact with things. How do we do things around the house? What are we using, when, and how? Because if we can give the right real-time information about what your behavior is, so the classic example we use, the refrigerator, that when we show the students how much the refrigerator is running and costing them in an annual basis, $500-600 for electricity, it's an eye-opener. There's never this connection of my refrigerator cost our family $500-600 a year, right? And then it's just there, right? It's keeping
there.
food cold. And then you teach them things like,
Well,
yes.
let's stay with that for a minute. So let's take the refrigerator example. I have a a friend who has her refrigerator. She lives alone, or she did at the time, and so there wasn't a whole family of people waking up in the middle of the night
Right.
raiding the refrigerator. But she had her refrigerator on a timer, and it would go off at midnight
Right.
and back on at 5 or 6 or something in the morning. And I thought, wow, that's so brilliant. Yeah, she said, oh boy, I could tell the difference on my
Yep.
on my utility bill in 1 month.
Right.
Does this program make those kind of suggestions, or?
Yes, so we always start with tips and suggestions to how to improve and create efficiencies. So for refrigerators, the big items like the refrigerators, the water heaters, and the washer and dryer, we talk about how to be more efficient. So the fun fact we talk with kids about refrigerators is that you kids how many times do you guys open the refrigerator? And then because that's, and then we teach them that when you're opening the refrigerator, it's all the cold air coming out, that when you're closing it, the condenser works hard to get back to the temperature. So it's linking them to things that their actions and behavior creates more energy use and costing their family more money. And, it's our platform, what's really amazing is that not only can we get the report back for the homeowner on the aggregated total from the home, also the individual plug-in loads and appliances, and the individual person itself who uses the behavior.
Wow.
So in fact, what happens is within the classrooms, you see this peer group, within the peer groups, if someone's using an appliance more or more energy, there's this kind of like everyone's kind of like stink-eyeing them, and it's like, oh, you better use less, right? And they're calling them out in the classroom. So I think in the family, when it's kind of the right for families to be able to guilt each other. I mean, that's in any culture, right? So, but I think it's one of those things that it's easier to swallow when it comes within internal groups
Sure.
rather than from outside,
Right,
especially
right,
if it's
right,
a
right.
third-party auditor, right? You
Yeah.
don't want people judging you, but when your kids are throwing your ethics back at you and your values and your lessons, it hits a little bit harder. And then you see it, clearly on the report. It's like, man, I am the biggest culprit in, energy.
So is that the report, it's just something on screen, or is it, you can print it out or something
Yes.
like that?
Yeah, so the report is, everything we do on the reporting is, you will not see an Excel sheet in there. And I mean, all our reporting is really fun and engaging. It follows our kind of an animated, gamification type of metrics and results.
Okay.
Yeah, so you will not see an Excel sheet on there.
Okay. And so does every member of the family, do they get to make them a character and?
That's right. Everybody gets to make a character and
Okay.
avatar. So
How fun.
yeah, it's fun.
Okay, well, more to come after a short break. This is Kaui Lucas with Hawaii is My Mainland on ThinkTech Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. I'm host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is our flagship show, which plays 4 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday. And the supporters of that show are Hawaii Energy Policy Forum and Hawaii Energy. And luckily enough, we have representatives of both of them right here today to tell you more about what they think about the show. Sharon Moriwaki at my left is co-chair of Hawaii Energy Policy Forum, and she goes first. Sharon?
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I'm so glad that we have this Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy. This was 2 years ago when we started this, and we have continued it because it's so important, and there's so many developments happening across the state, and we hope you'll tune in every Wednesday, 4 to 5. It's wonderful.
And Ray is Hawaii Energy. Ray, what is your thought about the same subject?
Well, I agree completely with Sharon that we are talking about every Wednesday, 4 to 5. We talk about some of the most important subjects that are affecting the islands now and into the future. Energy, clean energy, we need it. We often run into new ideas that we had not thought about before. We did just today, and I think we're going to have more of that in the future. So come on down and watch us 4 to 5 on Wednesdays, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see you then. Aloha.
Aloha.
Welcome back. I'm Kaui Lucas, and my guest is Charles Wang from ecoQoob. And now finally, I know you're all waiting, we're going to see what this little thing looks like. The ecoQoob has made a video with one of their interns. Do you want to say anything about that?
Sure. This was a video our intern helped us make this summer through STEM Works program through Women in Technology program, part of Maui Economic Development Board. And they're a great partner of ours, and they connected us to Alex, who's a senior this year in Punahou, and we just thought that, you know, it's her generation that's really going to have this impact. So let's put her story and her eyes and her view of what ecoQoob and what this technology can do for the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alex, and for the first time, I will be able to vote in the 2016 presidential election. In making my decision, a lot of factors come into play, the biggest being my upbringing here in Hawaii. I have been lucky enough to have been born and raised on the island of Oahu. Growing up, I've been surrounded by Hawaii's beauty and immersed in the Hawaiian history, culture, and of course, the aloha spirit. I love to get my toes in the sand and spend time with my friends, anywhere from hiking in the mountains to surfing in the ocean and anywhere in between. This island lifestyle has shaped my actions, decisions, and the person that I have become. With such a great blessing, it is my generation's responsibility to protect this beautiful place at all costs. This, however, isn't an easy feat. With the threats of global climate change, inefficient energy use, and increased burning of fossil fuels, we are causing huge damage to our planet. But things don't always have to be this way. In Hawaii, we are lucky enough to have strong sunshine, tropical trade winds, powerful waves, and even a volcano for energy. I've been able to see firsthand the huge efforts put into improving Oahu's sustainability, and with ecoQoob's education priority, I've been able to go out into the classrooms to teach about the importance of clean energy and energy efficiency, and inspire Hawaii's youths, the generation responsible for the future of this island and our country. But not only have I been able to teach about sustainability, I've also been able to learn about sustainability efforts around the island. Shout out to my new friends at the Boys and Girls Club in Nanakuli. Located in Kaka'ako, Oahu's modern and growing impact-centric community, ecoQoob is a green software company focused on education and giving everyday users power over their own energy consumption. This call to action to protect this island that I love so dearly is the reason why I began interning with ecoQoob. I was lucky enough to work with a great team who is passionate about what they do. I spent most of my time with Megumi, the Chief Sustainability Officer with ecoQoob. ecoQoob is a green software company focused on energy efficiency, education, and giving everyday users power over their own energy consumption. Through my internship, I've been immersed in technology, policy, and even more so in my community. In Hawaii, we have a saying of malama aina, or to care for the land, a task that we all share and should take to heart. My generation will soon be responsible for solving this energy crisis and protecting not only this island lifestyle that I love, but this beautiful planet for generations to come. Although a large task, we each make up a nationwide community, and through our individual efforts and decisions, and with a tool like ecoQoob, a single person is capable of a large change. I am confident that we will succeed, because now the power is in our hands.
Wow, that is really gorgeous. We finally got to see the screenshot of what the real thing is like.
Yes.
So does that mean that everybody can go right now and download the app and start?
Great question. We're actually launching officially end of this month on iOS. And the great thing is if you're a teacher and if you're a student and we go to your school, you'll be the first ones to get the downloads and to be able to download ecoQoob, because if you partook in the class, it'll be available on Android end of the year. And right now, we want to be able to give this away for free for all the kids and students who took our class. And we are trying to work with other partners and some foundations and other people around town, trying to figure out how to get this free for everyone, because it's such an important tool. We think that, you know, putting a price tag on there will create some barriers and limit folks out there. Sure. But Yeah, so we're working on it where we could make this available and free for every single person who wants this, because it's such a powerful tool where they're able to create a baseline, conduct audits, and create efficiencies around their home and take action. And the best part is that's just the phase one part. Because when you're in the class, you remember that we talked about ETGS.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Which is, E is for, I don't know if you remember this,
It's
efficiency,
efficiency, transportation.
transportation, generation, and storage. So we treat ETGS like the orders of operation for sustainability. And we want people to focus and hone in the efficiency skills first and take care of efficiency measurements before they move on to generation or transportation and also the storage, which everybody's talking about.
I think I
batteries.
need a T-shirt with.
I know, we got to make t-shirts for that. I know,
Really?
T-shirts, hats, whatever we can, stickers. But I think it just simplifies this step that I think we're all looking for. I think the problem within the renewable energy industry itself has been, we've been all over the place. We're trying to figure out solutions for grid energy issues, but let's just follow this simple model.
Okay,
Yeah.
so taking your order of operations on how I get my hands on this program. So first off, schools, they can contact you and somebody will come and give the class, and that qualifies them to be first in line to receive the app.
That's
and there will be no cost for that group.
That's correct. That's
Okay,
correct.
so any educators out there,
Yeah.
give them a call.
Yes.
And then what? And then it will at some point be available more widely.
Yes, and then we're going to have it available for everyone. And so within the tool, you could unlock certain features. And there's a section where you could, it's almost like it's the calculator that's in there, be able to measure the tools. We're going to unlock that for any of the folks who want to take it to the next step and want to be able to do auditing beyond their own home. And they want to figure out how to go to other homes and be able to create auditing and reports for other people. Our hope is that it's easy enough that everyone can just do their own audits, but we know that's not the reality. And you're going to need some champions and folks out there who are going to take this tool like this and be able to go to other environments and other homes and other businesses and create a report for them, generate a report for them as well. So what we're trying to do is educate, this is on a national level, is 10 million people and students through our education program. We want to reach at least 100,000 in Hawaii, and we want to create 1 million energy auditors through our platform.
What a beautiful vision.
Yeah, and I think it starts there. It starts with the right information and tools. And I always see this where, if people are so excited about Uber, right? They want to be, with your MBA, you want to be a taxi driver. Fantastic, mom and dad says, right? But, the advantages of Uber is that it's flexibility, right? It's on your own time. They're doing something they're comfortable with. It's easy to do. And there's a lot of, and they make, a great living out of it. And if we could do that with our tool and saying that you can conduct energy audits and be able to do that, the same thing, your own time, plus the big impact, right? What you're having for the environment and everybody else.
Wow.
I think that's the, get you out of bed a little bit earlier and saying, and then when you go to bed at night, it's like, I can't wait for the next day. Yeah.
And speaking of taking things national, you just came back from a very interesting conference in California.
Yes, so I was in San Francisco for Social Capital 2015, and it's an amazing conference. And if you want to attend, please go check out SoCap for next year. But what social capital really means is that there's this shift happening in the traditional institutional banks, and a lot of folks are a lot more conscious and aware about environmental issues, climate change issues, and there's $7.6 trillion that's being cycled through wealth management around the world.
$7.6 trillion around the world.
Yeah, and that's your money, by the way. That's your savings.
I wish.
That's being circuited around, part of it, right? So what's happening is that the endowments, the kids who are about to inherit a lot of these funds and monies, this next generation they're a lot more aware about what's happening. And it's not just about buying the big homes, the yachts, right? They're looking for impact and social impact. So they're putting the pressures on fund managers and the banks and saying that if you want to continue to do business with us, and like there's $300 billion endowments, where they actually listen and say that put it into companies that matter, that have it, social impact for good, and not just doing less evil, but really to
Right.
drive to
Actually,
change
yeah.
and do things. So when $7.6 trillion is on the line, it becomes a big issue. And it starts to be a significant driver into the right path. And whatever moves the needle to lower the CO2 emissions and what you're seeing, I think that's what we're really trying to do, is that people are shifting their wealth and putting their money where their mouth is and saying that let's make a change, and it's happening in the financial institutions. And giving credit to a lot of the financial institutions and the banks, they're listening and recognizing this, not as a fad, but a real kind of problem they need to address as well, and looking into adding the right type of companies into their portfolio. And when the banks get involved, that's when things happen. Yeah.
So are you thinking of joining the ranks of public companies?
I think it's for us, that's just way too early to talk about.
Okay.
We really just...
I had to ask.
Yeah, no, we just really want to engage with as many people as possible. We just want to be able to, continue to refine our tool to make it better, make our customers happy, get to as many students as possible, educate the teachers, and get to a critical mass point where, our technology matters. It's being in hands of millions of people or even thousands of people can have a ripple effect and significant impact. Especially today with social media, I think it's the connection that, what you're doing in your home and the results and how it changed you may be able to easily be able to transfer to someone else and saying, I could do that too.
I so appreciate this. I know that I moved into this off-grid house 3 years ago, and there was quite a learning curve.
Yes.
And not everybody can move into an off-grid house.
Right.
But with the help of this new tool you guys have come up with, the ecoQoob, it's that same awareness builder. So my format is that I'm here on Fridays with wonderful guests, and then I have my blog at kauilucas.com, and there will be a follow-up. And if anybody wants to, you'll give me the information.
Absolutely.
And it'll be there. So Hawaii is my mainland, kauilucas.com. And within a couple of days, we'll have the information how you can get in touch with Mikumi or Charles and set up a visit to your school.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Charles,
Thank
for
you.
coming and telling us all about this super exciting. Thank you so much.
We're excited. Thank you for the opportunity to share our message. Yeah, please.
We'll
be in
see where
touch.
it goes.
Yeah, and yeah, let us know. We'll go to the schools and teach the keikis out there. Yep.
Maybe we'll do a live show.
That'd be fantastic. Let's do it.
Okay.
When can we book it? Let's
All
do
right.
it.
We'll go talk to Jay.
There you go.